Some days ago, we saw new Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay footage and it gave me more insight on the game right now. Now of course the game is not fully out, so I would definitely not judge it completely, but I would like to talk about what we see in this footage. Now of course I'm not that big of a YouTuber, so I don't get invited to play at these events, so I'm gonna be seeing other people's clip for this. The first noticeable improvement I see is the environment. It looks very vibrant and lighting is very solid. I don't know why when there's direct lighting coming from the sun and atmosphere, for example sky, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now I don't know if they improved the graphics or it is just because they made environment more beautiful and vibrant. Of course Valhalla had a completely different atmosphere, so we were not able to see this specific thing. I personally don't think that the graphics are that improved as other people have mentioned, because it will still run on old gen consoles, so of course I would not expect the jump to be massive. But I like how they just made environment look better. That's the thing which will not break the origin consoles, and I appreciate that. Again, if you had very high hopes for the graphics, please don't. It was meant to be a Valhalla DLC and you shouldn't have that much expectation, and it's also coming from a much newer studio and this is their first Assassin's Creed game. Probably we are gonna get Assassin's Creed Red in 2024 or 2025, which is supposed to be a true next gen game. I do think that Assassin's Creed Mirage does not look that great in the night time though, and I might have an answer for that. If you see games like Cyberpunk which look really good in the night time, the most obvious thing is the global illumination, or said in simple terms, indirect lighting, when light bounces off different surfaces. This is what makes the scene more realistic, specifically in the night time, because the sun rays are actually not coming, so there is no direct lighting. Most of the lights are coming from the torch and stuff like that, and it's just bouncing. So in the end, the lights have to bounce somehow in order to create the scenery more interesting, but I think it's not that great. In Assassin's Creed Mirage till now, I feel like the nighttime graphics are not that good compared to the daytime graphics, and I think they should learn this from games like Cyberpunk, which just looks amazing in the nighttime as well. Now of course this is a GPU intensive process, so I would not expect too much. Anyways, let's move on to the parkour, and it's a very heated topic. Now of course we do see some improvements, but not as much as I would personally like. Now again, keep in mind it was Valhalla DLC, so they have literally built the game on the Valhalla's base, so the structure or the UI, or suppose how the characters look and act, are pretty much the same. We'll talk about those things as well. Now of course, don't expect it to be like Assassin's Creed Unity. I had so many comments on my previous videos regarding this. Assassin's Creed Unity's time is gone, and I don't really think its parkour is returning anytime soon. That's why they shifted to the RPG style of games. In one of my videos, I also talked about some problems with Assassin's Creed Unity's parkour, so you should definitely check that video out. As cool as it looks, there were some problems with its parkour, but also in the video I mentioned that it can be improved if they continued to stick with that style, but they did not. Overall, I think the parkour in Mirage is fine. I like how they increased the speed compared to Valhalla, but still there are no side ejects or back ejects. Again, it's pretty hilarious how the older Assassin's Creed games like Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, stuff like that had side ejects and back ejects, but the newer ones don't. I feel like Assassin's Creed as a franchisee is moving backwards rather than moving forward in some aspects of the game. Next thing is the map, and I wanna be honest with you, I really liked it a lot. Now of course we knew Baghdad was the main area, but other than that we got other areas as well which we could explore. For example, Anbar, where the game starts, it's on the northwest of the map. We also got Alamut's fortress, which you actually can't travel to, but you can teleport there. There's also more areas which I like. Of course, Valhalla had the whole map with open areas, so we are used to it now. But I appreciate having the diversity in the areas and not having a single type of area. Also, we can see the 3D view from the top, and I really appreciate how it can provide some information regarding how the area looks. I was watching Luke Stephens' video. He's a YouTuber and posts about, Assassin's Creed. A lot of people might know this already. He mentioned that missions are not gonna hold your hand and you have to find the place yourself. They're just gonna tell how the area looks or a nearby landmark. So the 3D map combined with that will work quite good if you think. They just will give the landmark and you can see from the 3D view how that place exactly looks, and that is probably gonna make the thing something much more suitable for us. Next thing is the story, and of course, a game without story is not gonna work that good. I actually cannot comment about it because I have to play that game for that. But from seeing from the footage we got, I like how the progression works. We first start as a younger Basim, who is not that great, but eventually he learns new things, and not only combat or parkour wise, but his personality also develops with the game. I like character transformations and I'm all for it. I also like the structure of the game. There's tailing missions, eavesdropping missions, and it kinda reminds me of the previous games a lot. I also like revealing new things about our next target and gathering intel. The thing which I didn't like was how the dialogues work. It's still the same as Valhalla, where the other character talks very spookily, which just does not feel authentic. It's like the Marcos guy from Odyssey. I literally hated the way his dialogues were. It just kinda made me cringe, you know. If you saw the older games, specifically Assassin's Creed 2 and Ezio trilogy in general, there was no cringe involved in the dialogue, and that's one of the main reasons why people actually like that game more than the others. People wouldn't like games for no reason, right? The dialogues in the newer games just look like they are using some kind of AI to voice the characters, and the hand gestures are basically copy pasted again and again. Like, it's not authentic at all, and it clearly breaks any sort of immersion. And I don't know why Ubisoft just does not see such an obvious thing. It's probably the biggest deal breaker for me in any game in general where dialogues are shown so bad. For example, see the new Saints Row game or the Forspoken game. Like, how would you enjoy a game when you clearly see the character does not have his own personality? Like in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the same hand gestures were there, and they literally copy pasted the same thing in Mirage as well. At least have hand gestures different, so that it can show that Basim has a little different type of personality. Next are the tools, and sometimes I feel they are great, but sometimes I also think they are pretty broken. For example, if you are in a combat, you can just throw the smoke and assassinate the heavy brute type guys from behind who will generally take a lot of hits otherwise. With that being said, I think for the most part, the tools are great to stealthily do our missions, and it's way more easier to do a mission this time stealthily rather than going on full-on combat mode. So I like how we actually play like assassins now rather than warriors. At the same time, I felt the combat was pretty dull. We only got the swords and that's it. And even with the sword, there are not any cinematic kills where the camera zooms in to show the kill. And me personally, I don't like this same smart movement every single time. It kinda looks jarring if you do that again and again. Of course, there are some good finishers as well, so I would not act like they did not do anything, but I was expecting a little more variety. Now again, as always, the AI just sometimes acts pretty weird, but I hope they fix it until it gets released. Like sometimes you are standing next to the enemy and he is not doing anything, he is just watching and doing weird things. So that needs to be changed. But overall, they mentioned that they have improved the AI detection, and I also feel like that, sometimes the AI is spotting you pretty fast, but I feel like even if the AI is spotting you, they are pretty much not doing anything. A lot of times you are like killing a guy in front of another guy, and the other guy is like literally seeing us kill his buddy and he's doing nothing, and then we can kill the other guy as well, assassinate him without even engaging in combat, right? So it's kind of weird. The final thing I do like the most is the world building, and I don't want to exaggerate, it's probably the best one I have seen in a long time. I'm trying my best to be as objective as possible. The population density is pretty good, the architecture is really good and aesthetically pleasing as well. There's a lot more variety of object and structures placed in the game, which actually is very close to the Middle Eastern theme. So I appreciate the effort they have put in this world. The last best city I saw in other Assassin's Creed game was of Venice in Assassin's Creed 2. Also liked Paris in Unity and desert areas of Origins, and also parts of Odyssey. But what I see till now, Baghdad looks way better than the places we saw before. And not only that, but also Anbar looks great as well. Like, look at this footage when we are in Anbar as young Basim. and the environment looks absolutely phenomenal and very vibrant. I have to give it to them for this thing, I ain't gonna lie. And the map as a whole looks very good. I actually found this thing to override most negatives that I found in the game. Now, ultimately, what do I think about the game? Before telling that, I do think Assassin's Creed franchise as a whole has been going backwards ever since the RPG game started releasing, and they completely broke the limits after Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There's no side ejects, there's no back ejects, there's no double assassination, there's no hidden blade combat, the dialogues are pretty bad and not genuine, the parkour is downgraded in general, and more things which I can't even remember at this particular point. There's also minor things which they don't have in the games anymore, which also makes a lot of effect in the game. For example, I really liked the slow background music in the older Assassin's Creed game, which set our mood according to that place. Like some places had more vibrant and happy feel, while some other places were more cold and gave some intense and mysterious feel. Now, coming back to the conclusion, I think Assassin's Creed Mirage is a game that is obviously a step forward from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but does it still reach expectations we have built from the older Assassin's Creed games? Well, that is questionable. As I mentioned, there are so many things that are just not present in the game which will separate it from the RPG games. There's still a lot of things they have to work in order to make the game better, and there are so many obvious things they could work on, as I have mentioned before, but they choose not to do because they are generating revenues by selling you guys microtransactions, and believe me, they are gonna keep doing that. A company will do anything to make profits in the least amount of budget spent. If they could create thousands of AI voiced and generated dialogues and make the game longer just for the sake of it and still make a ton of money, why would they spend time in making games which are shorter and more handcrafted, like Assassin's Creed 2 for example? I've still seen a lot of people who talk about why is this game not 50 hours long, 60 hours long, I like to get engulfed in this massive game, and you know, they just like if the game is bigger. But I feel like that's pretty stupid because anyone can make a game bigger by adding some random filler content, you know. To me, it's just not value for my time. I feel like a lot of people prefer quantity, but me personally, I would prefer quality in my opinion, and I'm definitely gonna give more money if someone is valuing my time, you know. Gone are those days when microtransactions were not that possible for a lot of people. Now, it's all about the money. Almost every company right now is getting in the business of online games, obviously for money. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you wanna know, I'll probably rate this game a 7 out of 10 for now after seeing the early gameplay. Of course, I have to play the game first to give a proper review, and for that, make sure to like and sub so that you won't be able to miss that in the future. And feel free to comment down any thoughts and what do you think about Assassin's Creed Mirage till now, whatever you have seen till now. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.